Mama plano na mi sumi mami pie. Mi di mi kado mami na mami di pie. Abrane bo me na mi sumi body pie.
Speaker Bagben left suspension of MPs. The Parliamentary responds to allegation of ball squeezing. Oh God. Some George 4 other and ball squeezing. Uncle Shemra squeezy balls. Some judge and 4 other ministers approved despite opposition from the minority. Kotokofan Nana Poli. And then Shatre. Kumasi Asante Kotoko withdraws from the Ghana Premier League following that incident. Mami kono mene Dr. James Kwabena for Junior and Kasenchia.
To do myself, Ubani I'm a metro correct. Go am I maintain I want to say. Made a form that I mean to me she say. See I know me, I know if I fall. Won't cry me man if I fall. Thousand a better me can chow. When in be mad at chow. Make I live my life how you know. It's always at last time though. Wait for no man, let's go. Commando, I shoot like Rambo. Say me, yeah, baby, I'm a dream, yeah, I did. Swear, my dream, one in it, yeah, I did. Swear, say, baby, I'm a dream, if I don't.
And pim time, pim done. Beto from you, I'm sorry. Mabusu ya didi ya me ho asa sorry. Mabusu ya didi ya me ho ata. Eni mere won pabwa no ke enkomi. Mi fremi na me no di enyo. Me shabra ni obi ade enyepe. Mi ye di bia na bibi ne ha me. Man fan se mi mpenipa. Nsi o time na me ye ba me na. Ya me kwa me di anka ma de pe me wonam. Life is a lonely journey. Ye tie bia na strive for my family. What yo
This one is to wish you Rose Amakwatima, aka Rose Quat Fashion, my 7th police barra. A happy birthday.
I'm a soldier.
From Rosabeth Awo Kaswa and Rebecca A. Wishing you Rose Amakwatima, Rose Quat Fashion, a glorious birthday. Quarantine of GBC Electricals and his sister Mrs. Rita Bedu of GES. A happy birthday from Peggy Amadanko of GTV. Wishing you a happy birthday. Nana Kobo 1 Onyumninie Janice Irabna Esando of Ghana Christian International High School. Happy birthday to you from your dad David Esando of GCB High School. Your uncle Atu Kwamena of UTV. Wishing you Janice Irabna Esando a happy birthday. Aluta continua.
Victoria Aseta.
You are my brother.
Brothers for life.
For life, for life.
Nyamedom.
Siriwe.
Sure say bibia be yi.
Allah.
Say de me nana no aka say siriwe nya no. Yes so ye de ye tiasi. Nyame adom de aka ye bia o de be kan ye ho.
O de be so ye so. Amen. Manche kwaba.
Ye nua.
That's a pass when you want that you said the bia we my aim.
Aye.
And that's your baby Ghana ho enkomo.
Aye na Cardinal we de minstro na ansa na ye be din komo no. Ene eye dapon dapa ewo entidie bia ana se suku a ye friend Prempe College Abakosemu. Ene eye oforiso da etoso mienu February 5 that was enum sorry ena enfie be se adioson ensianie womu ehia ewo Kumase Prempe College ye share ase na asantehen otumfo agiman Prempe otoso mienu na edin a yɛde to college no ne ntipa na yɛde to no ɔne ne nua na wakɔ exile aba na odi na de no ɔno so prempeh the first modern boy. In fact, the first Asante development plan was hatched by him and son of Obeko exile in 1896. Now, when we established Prempeh College 76 years ago, no, Trimpo na touch pa and say, you better to emrantie ama oman esum. Inti ye din oman for and I say amman for no. Na chassis no. Enunti ena womo fa se enyina so a yede ye entete no enye oman pa fapem eni suban pa oman pa fapem eni suban pa ena na yetwa ne ti aye no suban eni nimde aye ye college no ne fapem a mabunu ene ema ekọ hon mu nyina ebi bebre so nim se ye college no ema akomuda ye wo old boys a womo ye ma and I say all students are womo ye ema womo eko ntetie won mo ebinu kwa de womo penso no womo call dormitories. Yeah, they were housed at Prempeh College even though unchecked ena ye ma womo tena fie ba school mu besua ade enti emfie adioson eni nsiani a Prempeh College ebaye na nyame dom so obaye so wabom modern bebre. In fact, at some point in the late 1970s to the early 80s no medical school e wo Ghana hanom omo ma Prempeh College quota say senior befa if you say woman anya ne sa anhwa from the best student to the last student on befa no nya be free Prempeh College ye nya obi an free ba bia we nyina we no mo say ya mamukota mo ya be mamu dudu say
we nyina
wow medical school
we nyina
eti ya bi medical doctors, engineers, lawyers, judges, members of parliament, teachers, farmers, bebre asofo imam nom soldier for akantinka. So you say currently the CDS, the first general, 4-star general, you want to Ghana Hanmo.
You nyam Ghana.
Yeah, say you want to say.
You nyam
no.
You nyam bida.
General upon paper.
Or a test the boy fire on Michelle.
Yow. Senior
Thomas Yow upon paper.
Senior
General.
Prempeh College papa.
Why?
Prempeh College. Apart from the champion.
Prempeh 7 time baby.
Nah, I think sir, so far the best president we have had in this fourth republic.
I know say
me papa. His Excellency. Kaka we.
Minim the opposite oka. Minim the opposite oka.
His Excellency. Papa. Senior. John Ajekum Kufuor.
So we into which me coffee.
Enti oh,
I was my pon.
Oh, pardon me.
Dem nyasa me pam wo wi.
Na anopai. Oh, si wa mi nyina say na wo mi studio be say.
Me ni wo wi.
Enti I think say Yayebi. I'm say the first clerk of parliament under this fourth republic. Senior Rex Owusu answer. No honestly Prempeh. Me papa from Winchi. No sense to dine. Na memma Prempeh College fo nyina awodapa. Na maka kire ni titru mabunu na ewo ho sesi an say. Tie Osan your first black headmaster na oka asem bi na Ruben Tetesaki so me headmaster no so taka pa say it is not so much rising to the top but maintaining your position at the top is a greatest matter.
Mate, me da se. Me ma me baako, my sister baako, madam fo baako, ma die nyina. Mrs. Claribel Wilson. It our friend of Mama Reggie, administrator, Villac International School, Kingsby. Mama Reggie, Ora you mafu. Na sasa on shada nyada me bisa no. And I'll say, one pa nanzendi as we yama. Atanya he, why? A matter for tea and tem why? And I have matter for yami. See, Madame Claribel, Villac International School no pay, me watching, with himself when you pa. Doc, Parliament. Boss squeezing your album. Squeezy or say and squeezy. You'll be say, yes, squeezy. Yes, squeezy will be body. Yes, squeezing the boss will be squeezing me boss. BBI intact. BBI Nyamea, BBI okay. Oh, Parliament. Anyway, speaker say for no suspended or no was I sign. And then Hosem. Mammy, me no chance.
Cardinal.
Mammy knew if you answer something, I'm telling me asem.
Okay.
I will say to wish Mrs. Mabel Marilyn if we are insured Mensa a tutor Matthias of Uganda Preparatory School Santasi a glorious birthday from your sister Marilyn Sewa and Gadam if you are the Marilyn quantity number 2. I'm to Marilyn baby said you Enti Mrs. Mabel Marilyn if we are insured Mensa tutor Matthias of Uganda was Santasi Unia Marilyn say wa entry or say Yama Chinkwa and Awodapa happy birthday to you. All right. Oh
yeah, Cardinal.
Abila
near that a point so say Speaker left suspension of MPs after bipartisan appeal. Me nkasa wo hon mu bebre de meka nyina ne say Sir Speaker na onim say ade na waye no na emfamra kwan.
We sure.
Eni nyina so bia wo mra mu. He went out travel.
No onim. Onim
say.
Onim so edi mra so pa.
O dabi. Onim na Speaker me kana semo a amanfo bi fi say eye na bi your time bi. Enyo time bia o. The first inaugural speech of my year 2021, January 7. Ena me started ehu wo mu say na nyatwon sembi ahyase na kwan ofa so de be ye emrahwebadwa fie chairman no osese emma oma enu di nanim kan na ebrenase na onya abotre say di brana ye di amano no eye oman esom enti ene di aban na ene me yese sabi tumidie ye mfa nwa ye ho because tumidie na nkasa no eye adom and anybody who is a beneficiary of grace obi biara adom adi aboa no te se me nyame adom metin kwamu yi eni se me de me nkwa di agro obi adom nti wanya dibre bi sa dibre no emfa nhoahoa wo ho na me ye number 3 me ye number 2 me ye number 1 ena ye den sabi eno kan wo bi na eya wonum amrahye badwafo e wo hososo ebinom sabi enye wo nyina ebinom di wo hu nipa ebinom so de sabi edin anasa abodin a yede ma wonum se ahoninifo anasa won edi won huni no minyi ni se yede wonsu ne bobra wo bo no ofie ho no e de bata ho a yebetumi afre won sa de mesre tietia ene se won be kai Ghana mrahye badwafia edin kan the first assembly of the Gold Coast 1951 to 1954. Cardinal
Doc
Abra Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah moved the motion for independence the first time 10th July 1953. Nipa Ofuaso and now second motion no now one of the representatives from the Northern Territories Sabrina no your hin but now onyembe your hin pompa Kabachewura J. Ibrahim and no second emotion. No can be. They can't be speaker. And if they go through the hazard of Parliament, they will find this.
1953,
July 10. Cardinal.
Kawila.
At column 2812, paragraph 2. Or say, I hope you will agree with me that the price of success is self-discipline, effort, and constant vigilance. And Mr. Speaker, in all nature and in the order of things, restraint is the key attribute that guarantees and sustains success in every endeavor of life. Minim, but say me bono tofa na metiasie ye pa ahosheso ahobrasie abotare se uhu ujiatum se asudie ye de amami eye som eye nsohwe eye kwan amanya na eye britia so. It is a test, it is a trust, and it is temporary. Oh, mriye ninkaso pachao. Yebi ako. Ebi ma yebi ko. Adu mene won so say yebi ato aso. Ni yebeye. Ni ayenye. Eno ena dwontofo no say ema o man ko nanim ana say ko nachi. Aso ni yeye ena nkatetifo no ye ya enka metumi akasa no pai abo kabache wura a osanso be ye yagbon wura timu the first metumi akasa abo ni din dabi enti Mr. Speaker ujatum ese wa lift a suspension na ade ana me mpese metwim bebre ni se onhwa na ukokanse na speaker no de ono ye no asotwe be na ese se koma no because he heard, he knew or ought to have known too well then emba ni trimu a oyes ade no kadana makabia ye wo munim de ye said de chosem no ka kire ye wo Maika ngoma no tete ngoma pa tinsia nchichemu wotwe no ozo nipa ba wacho de ye de atene bra ho ase na nya humbo bro ma oyonko nipa ni nyina odo enimu tintima me da ase e wo ho nominees aye approve wonom ye say aye mienu bi ho nsem kadna MPs yahwemo Mose nyese Mose ya mamra no the constitution ya dietum no say ye mampani free so nidiso a emrahye badwafie chiame ena diso in fact mampani abedi akire ne diso na aba emrahye badwafie chiame ansana atimuaku batan ono so aba enye kwa aye kano say equality before the law no a ane ye wo ho but say the hierarchy of laws and say emramu enidiso no saaso ne ye wo enipa dibre so nidiso sabi ahemfo ayi chiniye ebi didi bi achi obi dia ba obi dia yetwe esan enya kwa nipa sa na nyame boye enitina ye wo aja ye wo ena ye wo nuapani ye wo nuakuma mpo ntafo a ye wo mu dakrompo no pani wom yen hu ne saa na yen tiasie saa na obi biara so a wo dibre bi e wo ba bi no kai se enya wo nko a ena obetumi aye amana wie peyo ese se yenya afoforo yensom eni nipa ena mpani so aka se obako kyere damfo a enye yie saa na man kyekere akwakoye na nominees a yapa wonum yedi kan matrim kwadada menyi ni se esese ye koso atwe de me de ene se vetting no what is that this year strangely this is the only vetting throughout our history of this fourth republic yanya kwan amma public no amfa nsema wo mo eka efa nominees no anko I don't so far mean who ye because of bring ana mampani person or shisha ni man tentem sunti and it is good for our democracy. The only thing is that notwithstanding no na nke betumi anya kwan bi a ye betumi afama wonu mo a ye wo bibi sei bi nti ewo no no ayapa wonu ma na say aswafo na ayapa wonu no wo mo no on de beba na ni nyina mu no megidi ye pa say members of parliament no ye bebo ni true minority leader ye bebo na baso say you know thought that the questions be one more one na okay but wetumi am ye hu
was another make catch us say
ken no e bi one more eya na ye kwa na cardinal ma nka we you see Malawi for baby eya meta kan one say cows are trapped by their horns men by their words what they call emremu a almost say he who calls for equity must come with clean hands sabi that be idea ba kwa me disrow power with management of public resource say ye sika say ye bre say ye fidie and say any wo and anya dia wo na wakope na wo kasa wo de ye dia wo pe eye wo you may even be part but eye wo ni omanfo nyina ye dia enti ano no wo de di djuma enya wo apede e na wo de ye eye de omanfo no pe ene ye de ye na sabi what di djuma som wo dodo mu na wo ahotoso ni gidie se memfa bibia eni se mefa minya bibia mintimi eni ho adanse ye then I didn't say about me we. What's the big deal? Say me want private property registered in my name. Why I say who slow say Obeka? Chairman no I thought that na me hwe di wadane no defense lawyer for some of the nominees before him. But I don't think that was right. Minority leader still kept his. I mean, you're sure say. Even though my express a reservation about say ya public ebia queries and I say
memoranda na be never
have say ebia obi wo unsem kan ebi no de be kono me visa minority that FLA those gaps in na the akos wo no so no eye adisua ma ye nyina ye ba say o ka obi asem a no ya wa hwe ye kakra especially say also what do jumadi when you are in public life. And I will say this, the people doing the most disservice to our public life and politics are not the media but politicians.
I didn't
know. Politician where you're crown for, politician where you're weak, politician way what you say eya ho anu no na wo ti free ya charging crofo at try warm in the media without an opportunity to respond, found them guilty and sentenced them to social exclusion. Bebre ebedu dia dine ebebu sa dance ye no osimini. The best we have had a apology. Can that compensate for the harm to reputation? Obi kansan bi tumu asema okay oni nyina so bia so o kana libre so ye de ye ho politics near time crowd partisan politics no, and perhaps I should sound this caution. Ghana politics is not for partisan politicians in Kwanwu. Political party bien ni Ghana hanumo sebi ni membership it do 2 million. In fact 1 million crown at the braka. I've managed a political party before. I can tell you records in good standing. Ubusa pomo e claim to a party for say what does it mean to be MPP? What does it mean to be NDC? Even party executives, you find them wanting. Where are the principles? So ye pan ye de ye man yourself no. And it will help us in deepening our democracy by getting more quality people. More quality people. The fact say party move your party politics no one platform doesn't mean say I am the best. No. Talk and let others talk. That's democracy. Now the accounts more being can be. Unti asia from I come can be no and no dey way. Can be. I don't say you say dey can na min can be. Also me can man can be. Me feel say ye ne sa enye. Na mesre wo mo a the parliament person o mo de dane agudie bia. Sometimes the jokes are too many. Agudie no do so dodo. Kada wonim say nipa ni be ono a ode oye no ono onim say ade na oye ne pa enkosi aga. Enso odi di agro.
Nipa bi tisa.
Nipa bi a lot of them in our politics, in our public life. Uni omudi nkoma. So I now say you are too serious with life. Hey. Now if I cannot be serious with life, what else can I be serious with? What? Life that you have it but once to live, and after death you have a judgment to give to your maker. And that's my belief, that's my worldview. I'm guided by that. If you don't have that worldview, it's yours. But don't accuse me of being too serious with life, because this is life. It's all I have. It is life and the other things that support life. Without my life, nothing else is important to me. Enti masre na media wie say ye see ye amanwa ye nyemai na wonu mu a ministerial appointments adane an opportunity to self enrichment. Some ministry is juicy, some ministry is not juicy. Where did that come from if it is about service? Say your sumwa somben na chen sumbi cardinal somben na ye kese chen sumbi na wan pa na oba be sumwa obe kwakotua sika say mame kwan na me mesomo ati will you pay money to me to come and serve me? So we see our whole concept and understanding of politics right from the foundations of our nation. That is if we even have one. Because I mean lately I've been thinking, have we formed a nation? Etos Bayan from the very first day. My kind of motion of destiny go and read the speech.
Na kabila dia sem na kana GMBs you also to make Ghana cylinder manufacturing and also to make Ghana publishing.
I no we see so sunya be ne dantem.
Baku ska ni ho.
Inti som no anase sika na wo kope.
Ntasi nko anante.
Kadna no de papa kwa rabon fe no ka kire me say JK Bonfe senior me na tori. O say ukoyi wa ye ho ukoyi wa you only war in the world. Na wo no bi be wo no e bi be bo nti wo be wo no obi a ukoyi wa ba bia bi wo no na ni kura so a. Na papa say the motivation is that on sana wo des yi ewo no na say me sure say technology abedie use sankosa but on sana wo di yi wo no eya dan ya unhohoro nsa no ngu at least obetafre ho kakra
enti betafre dem am tafre ni yi preko
de me kan say wo tafre no nya say fa wo no bo wanum na silver na say kra a wo gi wo no gu mu no na watam
ba say ozo ne be ya adwen say uyi wogu pan mu a o tafre a de obetafre so a chese uyi agu se wa chensim
na me ka say nti tafre no is to tell you say adwuma obeya obebre ho no ehye den a obetene debi na ne da no bi ene say wo ba ye bebie kwan ama na me ba ye mie kwan ma me ne da no bi ni say wo tu kwan a ye beka say o man ntwa o ticket me ye ntwa me ticket ba ko ene say sabi So me no nyina kwa pre bibia. Ye because say yamma member of parliament preference over me. Enti ye be from honorable, ye from honorable nka me din ho.
Honorable.
Enti the message nyina ne say
Honorable.
Ye nyina ye nka hunu say. Ye chichiri manya baakofo enchiri damfo. Ye nyinara yensom eni nipa. Na ya dwene ko benkru mu a ye be ya ma ye man yi ayeye medase.
Enso medase papa. James Kwabena Bonfa Junior PhD and I'm telling Kano. Atik Mohammed and so ewa ha. Atik Maje. Now what is say?
I'm Adam.
Open for what is saying.
Obia.
Na say we say kwana etutu kakra. Afere me kwa sore ba no de bi be mark kwa me say eh mutu ya miracles ogana.
Azemo. Wu kan na de wo mu say no.
Eh mutu bi
Substandard road nanso no man mark and I'm say wo mark de yen. Ade e hu atutu is unam so
it media grow papa.
No, but really and truly media my thinking is that all urban roads should be asphalted. So between us roads na here no emwa nso togusu correct omu ye kwan nso togusu na esu tutu basa then the following weeks following month no omu zadi bitumen kakra edebe gusu be hu na afi omu ye markings am say na kwan we na ye markings no anyway yedi kai maminchia Republic of Gambaga for na minchia Mamprogomani Ghana for nyina nana me de am say issues are ya kan ho asemi medical aka ni esi wo parliament just briefly na afi mabeka asem bi a ehia me pa efa galamse hu but ni esi wo parliament ni de I think say the Speaker of Parliament, in my humble view, acted ultra virus. Because me, my standing orders, my kind constitutional, trying to locate Bibia, Yeman to me say, without, referring supposed erring MPs to the appropriate committee, the Speaker can on his own pronounce judgment on the conduct of members of Parliament, without even giving them the opportunity to be heard. And by saying that before with every energy we can command, until when such organs are under attack, we feel responsible.
It's been denied.
Even though we are denied, but nonetheless, it tells you the severity of the situation. Because meaning they say Nipan Bebo Ntrimu Poa because somebody had squeezed the bees. What am I saying? And imagine, this is the House of Parliament. Punches have been thrown, and now it's got to the point where people are squeezing colleagues, vital organs. Where is this is semi-murder. Because me adi now when you freedom in tema one year. Too late. And what is the value of a man without his? That's why vandals defend those ones with all energy. Because what does it profit a man to be in parliament and lose his bees? And the way it tells you, say the House of Parliament is becoming a joke, with all due respect to members of Parliament. But even so, no, I think the Speaker acted in a way that, in my view, went beyond the remit of his powers, allowed both by the standing orders and the Constitution. But there is a saying in Mampuli say, "So we opinion na umbu huwa unkola nebe tufu." Sanity, if you think you are a member of Parliament, now you say we are kwala niamu ye nyans sabi nim. And the Speaker would assume powers that are not his legally and not constitutionally. Now, sometimes, look, I wrote a paper on the participation of women in politics. And in the days of Nkrumah, when the affirmative action bill was being introduced to get 10 women to be members of Parliament, one of the comments, look, Ukaya Oyembe show. Say Nkrumah was going to bring pancaked faced women to come and be sitting in Parliament with little utility to the deliberations of the House. Oh, that is how one of the MPs on the other side described the participation of Mano. Says here, who share the utility of, look, they contribute, they don't even contribute. And when the person dares stand up to contribute, so you ask yourself, is this really a member of Parliament contributing? This is my assessment, and a sincere one at that, of Parliament. It is like, over the period, the quality in the House is gradually going down. And that's a really, really, really good source of worry. For Obia or who the growth of Parliament. One would expect, say, from 96, the way I call in 2000, you would expect it to be progressive. But as a trend, is according to say, I don't know, the growth of quality in Parliament is ham-shaped. As I call PIM, the Pempens, so now is declining. And that for me should be a really, really, really big worry to all of us as Ghana for, because I'm not sure Bejufwe Omude exercise oversight even over the executive. Omun Shisha Mra MIA. As if the quality of your representations now is leaving a whole lot to be desired. Not just a hardware. Look, and comrade, you would understand this, and I would appreciate this. Ebimu, when you appear even on a panel, now you are engaged in a debate with Obi. Nipani Nifax, Obi no kikim, no didiatem. Sanity, and if somebody lacks quality, he makes up for it by being, for want of a better word, acting like a thug.
Rowdy.
Yeah, rowdy is the word. What has here?
Egbert, senior Egbert Fable, and I said, Papa catcher and said, during a debate, the first to throw a punch concedes his ideas have given up.
That sounded absolutely. That there is no better way to put it. In the same manner, Obia, who Sebi does very little to participate in the deliberations of the House, wants to be seen in other areas. Until do chobo na Sebi, who the catcher me? How many times do you see those contributing very seriously on the floor, throwing punches and squeezing Krofuja Padia? You hardly see them. It tells you how the trend of growth in Parliament is beginning to decline. And that's something we need to be watchful of. Says here, you spoke about the way I am Manuel. Says here, everybody who wants an appointment wants to get the appointment. Send a beya obenye sika ediako tu biya manako Parliament. And some become CEOs simply because nipan peso nyesika ediako to delegates. Normal tunuswaba. Then eventually the person ends up in Parliament. Without, you see, sometimes you need to do, self-introspection, do self-assessment. Baby Amikwe, do I have what it takes to be there? But Akweti says, the idea, Parliament is becoming insurance for politicians or who say, baby Edri de Andre, your party will co-position, till let me go buy that insurance. Parliament cannot be insurance for politicians. It cannot be a safe haven for politicians. It should be a baby. What GDA say? Me bahadia. I have what it takes to contribute to deliberations, to the making of good laws. Because look, being a parliamentarian is like being a researcher. Because on daily basis you are inundated with documents. And so we have research to make sure that this bill I ever pass, this agreement that is being brought. But there are people who really sabi. They bring the documents, they don't read. And even when they read, they hardly appreciate the content. Oh, and how do you expect Sanipanu to make meaningful contributions to the House? Maybe I can't vet in Wasam, but this issue of Galamsey. Mazda Endra issue statement.
Galamsey, yeah.
Near the man who
call it illegal mining.
Yeah, illegal. So that
is a corrupt. It's a misappreciation. The public seem to buy into that.
Now Galamsey is the synonym of illegal mining.
Yeah,
that's why I'm making
we should correct it. And yeah, Papa.
Among Foja Galamsey and no. Says here nobody does Galamsey in the true meaning, like the true meaning and the strict meaning of Galamsey. Obi anye BMO. Sometimes now they were using hoes and pickaxes to do. Says Obi enya Obi enya oyes adino.
Intiman sesasa adino by giving it to.
You see, Galamsey in itself was a corrupted word. Now we have given it a new meaning. So allow the evolution. Allow the evolution.
we no papa na ye no tete no.
Ayra, there will be no name for it.
No, we have a duty to.
How would we call it then?
Illegal mining.
That's brofu.
No, illegal mining. Kwambone e fa so tu agudie.
That's a sentence.
Kwambone krono bo. Krono.
Very Kabila.
Maminka Galamsey na muntu Kabila.
Any direct.
Kabila Galamsey. Ati
Galamsey is one word.
Ati.
No, is Galamsey is one word.
Ati.
Yes.
A operational definition.
Simple. We have decided to give us our operational definition.
Your operational definition.
Well noted.
You have right to contest.
Yes.
With literature.
What was said in the last 2 quarters of last year, no. You know, because of the effects are now yashas here of Galamsey, affecting water bodies, Amazisia Krana, water company, and young processing my. You know, the campaign against illegal mining, Eman Husubim. We issued statements, we spoke about it, and so on. Abaina Netushunu decided to say, the Enyon Hushi. And Nyomuti Susesi spoke also very vehemently against Nene Kosono. And our information, and like we have said in our statement, there are reports, and we believe the same reports to be credible. Say, Galamsey says Akra as someone who's in a different form. Say new entrance aba because there's a new government. And the fight against Galamsey, look, there's no room for for us to pause. Yentimi kaze an grace period. Abanwe a grace period. But with the issue of Galamsey, there can be no grace period. Because look, it is one of the major threats. One of the factors are undermining young climate change mitigation efforts as a country. All the NDCs are all the climate change, the national climate change policy now. The national climate change plan now. Galamsey is whittling away all the things we have decided to say. Unim say the year 2025 is yet another year as a Ghana representing an NDC to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. I say because Paris Agreement requires you say every 5 years you should present your nationally determined contributions. And this year, and that's how Paris Agreement was born out of that convention. And this year, Mrena Sasum say Ghana would prepare its own NDC. Yaka NDC now is simply your national climate change plan. Then we have found for the next 5 years. And Galamsey should feature very prominently in it. Look, Galamsey is one of the major threats to, like I said, your mitigation efforts, you know. And Galamsey na about fighting climate change, you know. Look, the Paris Agreement, another Paris Agreement, you know, focuses on 3 action areas: air mitigation, adaptation, and then financing. Now, say, if you are going to solicit a nuclear, Trump's you know they were trying to free agreement, you know, and the financing for climate change efforts, you know, and our programs, you know, says here bedding, and nobody would watch anybody or be contributed any developed country. With your climate change efforts now. Now, Omusha say Munya she Galamsey, which is one of the surest ways to undermine more efforts now. There is no way Omusha say Munya she there's no way they would be motivated to support you with your efforts. And Galamsey is the fight against Galamsey is at the center of all our climate change efforts. And I say, look, we cannot swap one group of illegal miners for another. Now, illegal mining now, I'm not just talking about people who are mining without concession rights and are without mining rights. I'm talking about the destruction they occasion to the environment. And environment, I'm not just talking about young forests, no, the water bodies are included. They degrade the forest. They pollute our water sources. Look, and one of the contributory factors to climate change is deforestation. because nnuana ewo honum na that absorbs carbon dioxide no bubu ni nyina gu ha it reduces your I can say the environment's ability to absorb CO2 no and you climate change na it's simply the change in your weather patterns the rise in temperatures no occasioned by the fact that you now have a lot of greenhouse gases enu na trap sunshine like when the sun rays you can say planet I can say assassin no usually our weather is not too extremely warm cold no and say you have some greenhouse gases no CO2 methane and the rest it may absorb some of you can say sun heat na you can say we are produce no but say air also until you have them trapping a lot of the heat. That's how come you now have extreme weathers. You have higher temperatures. Na CO2 na nuano air absorbing no. Says here bubu ni nyina egu ye destroy ni nyina until there is more emission of CO2 into the atmosphere. Which means you have higher concentration of CO2. And it tends to trap more heat. Until na says here look at the heat waves I experiencing in Tanzania. Until when nyina air dia that undermine your efforts to ensure say yetimi kutia can say climate change. Says here the obia can say another agreement and is we should be able to maintain the temperatures not to go beyond 1.5 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial era can say temperature levels no.
Bro fu bebre na oka no.
Nyame pa che ne say ne ye nyina ma ye modern boy ye pese ye nso ye contribute to ensure say climate change in samsami higher no say see galamsey is one of the things that you can say say bibia ye boy humodin na galamsey abese no nti mampenyin we have made some propositions in our statement ne kan we have suggested just like we did last year. The first point of attack is to cause an immediate cessation of all small artisanal and small scale mining activities. That's the first point. And yes, you be banning or more permanently. But once you cause that cessation, no, it allows you to then fashion a more sustainable and workable plan. Secondly, and this has to be done with of course the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, the Minerals and Mining Act 703 no gives them 703 gives them the power to suspend and even cancel all licenses given the fact that it is in the public interest until almost had 2 minutes to cause the cessation. So we feel said this is about the environment. Is about the environment. We don't even see why when it came to the fight against Galamsey, it was the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources that was leading the fight. Ministry of Environment, they say take charge because Lands and Natural Resources, they are to ensure say we need license and any mineral right. You don't go mining. But the distraction that is occasion to forests and water bodies, it is the Ministry of Environment necessary. Making sure say that doesn't happen. They prevent further distraction. And obia odis abonino yet me fa kwan bi so etwina so. And we have also proposed the setting up of specialized environmental course. Because this is a major problem, and if who person will deal with that problem now, you should be innovative in the way we are. Say you do move for regular course now. Eto be a check, but if you have specialized course, say we are dealing with environment and environment related offenses. Mijidi say it will make the dealing with such cases very expeditiously. And we've also made the suggestion say Mesti wo they need can say distraction bad distraction. We don't even know the extent of the distraction. We have suggested say Mesti must conduct immediately conduct an environmental audit.
Mesti near then
Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation. Conduct an environmental audit, and there are state agencies in doing that. They don't need to incur fresh costs to do that. Now the extent of degradation. Bia Ghana for who picture na share ya. Mijidi say near Mesti and all other relevant stakeholders biano. they will get the full support of Ghana for. It's very, very important. So we do our audit, the extent of degradation, illegal mining activities, of course, we need to know. At the end of the day, the most important thing is if there is no review of the mining sector now, people will still go back. And to protect the environment, we also are encouraging say there should be multi-stakeholder, engagement. And our conference, if you will. Now, yen discuss it. Edian potia. To ensure say the activities of Galamsey we esobete. Make I say one of the things that Abaya Etremu thought they could do was to introduce community mining. But community mining became the legal license for people to even do more Galamsey. And it tells you that model has not worked. We need to have some multi-stakeholder conference so we can, think further and better about the way I bet to me Ekutia mine. We can't say nobody should mine. After all, it's one of our major foreign exchange earners. The mining subsector is one of the major earners at Ghana. And the end can say we won't mine. But we should mine responsibly and sustainably. And we have suggested, let's have a conference to discuss that. Now, at the end of the day, yet me as our conference now. Now, what are even the extremes? Ghana, if you are not doing small scale mining, you are doing large scale mining. There's no midway between. And to be one capacity to do small scale mining, so now the capacity to do large scale. Obenwa no the Galamsey na ekeka ho. And if we have a medium scale mining arrangement, so a idea possibly able to me aboa. Now, Mamin Faye no entry or Namembeka the approval of
Mamin approval
nominees. Just
Mamin Komra. Mamin Komra.
Oh, go ahead.
Some if you have been bow.
Oh no. Minu wakasa bibri. Mamin can just 1 minute.
Oh, I think 1 minute.
Oh, 1 minute. May one.
Wouldn't Maria FN 1 minute.
Oh, minimum.
I think
minimum.
Wouldn't Maria FN 1 minute.
Yes, some school.
1 minute.
Aye. No,
seconds.
not strictly speaking, but metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically, Mamin Komra.
Oh, wait, let me because it has exposed a lot of things. You see, I am advocating say the asset declaration regime I said to me mrano. Say we declare obi ehun ya we declare. We need to know. Because you not just a man for kukoso.
Are they?
Look, how can you marry the salary of an MP to the cost of his accommodation and an tenancy?
Mariana, okay.
Mika okuju to blah blah kwadi. O eminia.
Watch the nyuma wa you.
Was I a VMate so?
Watch church.
No, see, he's a full-time MP. That's all he does.
Oh yeah, printing press along the line.
No, that was the old school. You see, why are you saying SARS can all the court treasury bills and all the court fixed deposit? And man, Debbie. No, they asked him. You see, yeah, we are confusing two things. That was an answer to a question of, have you ever worked? Why you Jumada? What has he? That's different from how he pays his
There's
rent.
a company in 2018 and 19 or so.
Some of our say no see 2008.
Printing president
and you are Fibako Anya Juma or Anya Juma.
And you're incorporated.
2008 no. Anya Juma.
Yeah.
Now
Oh, no.
So you're 1 minute.
I think that the asset declaration regime. What's up, you are there? Where the on your benevolent to? He said, oh,
yeah, the dictator
can't be benevolent in count. He's a raw dictator. Nyame say once we have access to,
but at least I build consensus.
What's that?
I'm not like the speaker. I built consensus.
Oh yes, you try to. Yeah. Nyame say, you see, your car asset declaration now is not for fun. It's just the idea is that Uber public service mono. Men yawa dream say me babe use our office no. E dia pesika ma me ho.
E dia na nya claim am.
Say who declare na ade kukom we have no access to it. Me dey hu say papa ya minim ni. Obe say na minim no. Oko fie say no tie. How can I?
E o Matthias e ba o kan o kuje to specific na business. Ne dia na nya claim am. Je chemu no de ma dia na wan tie.
Master wa ko airport hills da.
Me dia na wo ho.
Me bisa unko hoda. So boss to ho.
Ah, interest makọ.
And unko hoda.
Pacho de.
Ba wa What for order?
Meaning baby a woba men call order.
But modern, that could be just take a jolly ride.
Now what about room?
Oh, there be no men raho Jinasro says overhead now my Jim. Ujinasro now shine you be never catch row.
So to me
let me tell you how much 15,000 Ghana cedis is in dollar terms. What that Roma? In fact, that's about $1,000. In fact, in Drumpo, but I'm using the conservative exchange rate of 15 cedis. That's $1,000.
$16 something.
No, it's about 15.3 something.
Granted,
but I'm just giving him. Me tell me a book or madam from Timidi 15 a man.
I had
Masa,
$1,000.
and $1,000 cannot rent a 4-bedroom house and a 3-bedroom house.
Are they
2-bedroom graunya? Missy, Bomodi na drive past there.
And they have a call Dako.
Me, Masa, me go ahead. Oh, me go ahead. No, me, my call, see me in front of God, me do coin.
Never be also in Gono.
No, me, ya would ya could drive a quaba. Okay, it is possible. I was want to bet me a foul.
Ya cause I see,
you bet me a foul. Oh, Masa, even areas like Roman Ridge, Jowlu, and the rest, you know. Some buildings won't cost $2,000. And I'm proceeding on the assumption say, would you salary in a coach rent to? Would you my school fees? And when Musu said, "Omo man go Saito,
Omo go pan me."
Debbie.
Omo,
yes, you on crochet designers.
Omo go Gambaga DC.
What is here? Amaga yen schools in United schools yen nisa RC ni LA ni Debbie ni bi.
More than
Ozebzia Primary, the oldest primary school. Yes, you know, in
1990.
Me, what I'm saying is that you see, your access to asset declaration now, we can reconcile some of these issues. What's I say? But again, it is also important, say, you now must demand accountability. I am not saying, I mean, Ablako has done a very good job pursuing issues of public interest. What is here? But which we should point the compass should go round. It should not be fixated on just one direction.
The prosecutor must be prosecuted, no?
Not necessarily. Whoever, whether we are prosecutor, we are inspector, everybody involved. Just say check on one side, I check others, and I check others. We say check on. Okay. Unim say ye ka Botiman lands.
Botiman, yeah.
If indeed this government, new government, is committed to the fight against corruption, looting of state lands and all other state properties, Miss Rewom, ye bubo bidding one Boteman, ye free baby aviation lands.
Aviation, they were dentano.
Ananyano. Enwa. Politicians na chicha adinafa. Adena oral in Namho, and there is this ABA Mijunwa Mintiasia. How can you consign your responsibility as a state to an individual? Say Obi Engoku NG Abainsasi Emau, no Oya Maman Sasinibi. That is how come all these Boteman and aviation lands Yachichaman Crofu. Because Assassin Abaindia, not Abainzo, we are that is the allegation say Abain Eddie Jumano Echo share. Ankra binsem say ono what to me say obetimi age aban sasene ama aban nti oji wi the person is entitled to a number of acres. That is how come. And you see, you have politicians am betina say afuaso say yes ade wi na ya che bia man Collins Commission akosha aviation lands no say no mutua ya
omafa
chichafa mate. And it is not only party, it's not party specific and it's for AGB MPP for AGB Ukobotema is the same thing. And the orally as in the direction AI one-sided. Me for orally 200%. And then it's in the dachina me for so. But Emma Omejuan to say we are focusing only on Crawford who are coming from a certain persuasion. Operation Loot all state assets now.
Who has established what is a loot?
It does
who has established
something you have obtained illegally.
No, who has established that?
They are doing evidence. They are doing fact finding.
Let them,
of course.
Loot. No, who has established something as a loot?
No.
No, say
no. It's not when I say loot necessarily. It's about state.
Who has the power?
Nyabutre. Say they are not. You
do you have the right?
They do.
Who?
They do.
Who?
To go and find out. Check.
Why na mama start to me?
And your president is setting up.
President
Ben.
We have President Mahama. President Mahama hasn't set up an URA.
Oh, what are you talking about?
What am I talking
Who
about?
set it up then?
Go and check.
Who set it up?
President elect.
You see,
this is the problem.
Yeah.
You see,
let's even grant.
The road to democracy cannot be.
Let's even grant the president elect in a year. This is not dictatorship.
It is wrong.
We are buying your man. They should come after you.
Good.
But you see, but before they come after you, that's what they are finding. That is what they are finding out.
Who has established that we are buying?
That is what they are finding out. That's what the oral.
Do you have the power
To do what? To find out.
Yes.
Anyway, at this point,
they have the power to find out who has taken state lands.
I think Kabila. At this point, let me go press some balls here, and then I think Kabila. I think at this point, I want to go press some balls hard. Kabila, let me go press some balls.
That's why you feel.
No, I won't, because I know it is mine.
No, but
I won't feel like,
before you get the opportunity.
Kabila ne atik mpamcho. Kabila ne atik. Tablet boy. Kabila ne atik. Atik. Kabila. That's point. I want to go press some hard balls.
Say that's what they are looking at.
Atik.
Anybody at all, public official, yeah.
Hey, Assembly credit. Okay. I want radio. They don't want me to press, but I'll press. Who lives in his own house as a tenant, apart from Ghana, and who keeps his or her tenancy agreement with his or her landlord or landlady, apart from Sam Okujeto Ablakwa? Protozoa is asking. David Kumi Awatakwa, Nana, good morning. Be informed that the original name for those doing the illegal mining those days are called Keshi, which is today Galamsey. David Kumi Yomate. Thanks for the information. Na maintain that. Nana, I'll kindly tell Kabila that the masa. Omo dia nye general we bi o. That's it, nye we bi akra why. Musa Batwain Aswase Nana yaw. I am concerned about Speaker Bagban's okay, I concern Speaker Bag. Okay, I commend Speaker Bagban for his wisdom and magnanimity in forgiving the minority members for their unparliamentary conduct. His decision upholds the spirit of unity and progress in our democracy. The micro minority leader, okay, Musa Abatwa. Mama fancy answer, but Mohamunim say any BBI friend micro minority. Some Mohamunim. Minority is minority. Omo any part 2 crore minority. It's as simple as that. Mohamu be ya na fedie ebedu baby na akwa ne ball pressing nema wo eho na mo press nema o table ase sa enyefe. Munyasa. Citizen Francis Mate osuso de no afina aziko pokusu akoma ato ne yam na ode ma de na breme hey enipa nyo azikufu e omo fi hey nyame ho ebe ye pa enra na eye honorable Echo Vincent Asifua ne papa awoda eti once again to wish you a belated happy birthday Sir Knight Polycarp Asifua Sir Knight Polycarp Asifua na eye wawoda Sir Knight belated happy birthday to you free honorable Echo Vincent Asifua and was say oma trinkwa ene awoda pa honorable Akwesi Ampofu eje Alexander Akwesi Akwa Odan honorable mache
Kadna Bejoso
now what is saying how has your ball pressing skills been?
Semu Kadna the check is Misha Kabila
do a study on
how to press ball
on bee squeezing practice in politics. You know what I'm saying? This is not the first time. Someone has suffered that injustice. As a vandal, I'm against that.
Your bees here no, but the bees you are referring to are not the bees that we know. So
which bees do you know that?
So I know that you have an oppression definition for bees.
At this point,
no, that subculture needs to be studied. The venerable Obed someone has suffered that injustice. And then Bidzidin suffered. We need to study that. It's becoming a terrible subculture.
And the Dapamakwa is believed to have suffered.
He's alleged to have
Well, he has come out to say he didn't suffer that. Waba Abeka.
Says
Mejidi say interest no e boss on na M11.
Enya boss nasem.
M11. Ghana media. Busana mu camera se bejafo asem.
Yasem nye ho.
Na we yasem a.
Na yasem se MP parliament na koye appointment committee adwuma na afi ebehu na MP abeka se MP awura table ase press boss a. O si Ghana media here. Obi suma se ko che table ase. Na ko press boss.
Ba oni enya bla konkwan na ti airport so.
Oh,
no,
at this point, let's focus on the ball. There's a ball on the
table. It should be all encompassing.
Thursday, Nyumre. Number appointment committee.
No, Friday.
There be Thursday. Nyumre. Number appointment committee. Me call Hobe 2. Na be 3. No.
As a friend?
No. As a sector related personality.
Okay.
Because nearby be Veti Akando, Honorable Akando. Health Minister for at 3 Kwabraminta at 3 o'clock. And you know, now I was getting ready to be part of the vetting team. Yet now Kopum say around 9:30 to 10. Na onya kwamai. You know, I'm for her video no I course no crowd and tokwanwa. But when I say na bitio na Mary biscuit anu miti. Cause that come the whole day na minidi. Na abra dia no e course no I do baby a ano ya yeshe. Me sabeti hodomo but omu pia table na was sorry now before I'm sorry me who say obi nam table na se
table nkiti
was the table nkiti o table here sizable
no I said that
onam
oba na bema
no
nam table na se twaso
MP on MP
twaso
nti emudwo ye ne ade a me hu de akọ business nti wonam table ase de na wo ye no kan
Okoye.
The Okoye.
Also Okoye then.
Now in the interview, in the interview, I must say me pay no. Ya didn't come about 45 minutes. Wa kwan ye be fa so a sa nyama we no ebi nsida. Ebi nsi biom. Me ka say ni nyina ne say majority form numbers no. Embule yen because yes anu a na ya akwaye te say ebe bia mpedifo buye. So opam ohufo a obeto ne bema. It's no mamun kase numbers this so at bia mbe hwenhwan because already no we are down. It's no say yenso ya for say was ye gina ema Ghana fo na ye de was say ebabua Ghana nyina no a mamun kase mo numbers anti we should cow down to submission. Eba sa no a e de say ngwase sami ebeba. Ana misa ka say speaker say nipa nan yi pe ena watch your maso esa so mo mu phone ba videos ni adede a ene na wanye ni ye because enema bi call so a cameras no and capture at the blind side of the cameras no enema bebre call so no bizam said and so for instance say in a call so one say obi ko share table ase
no you did you movie
ana oko pretty here
pretty say why doctor
enya me na me ko so obi mu nipa ena me say thankfully no nipa no ono no ebeka say na me ko ye no nipa ne say obi ama em hwe eti yem fancy wa ba won say nya say mu atrende and say mu amidi kan kai all the suggestions have be prophet ya betimi aboa na amagana ya parliament no mu bia ama
eno nye de
it is a trap for busu muntu mu hofo na yemmoa oman chichire ensem ni bi wo ho na mu a sebe yemmongu na de ehia ebetimi abo man no yemfa because baby asemi akodu ho enwanwa
we su hia o
ehia saying
sekoye ayi a ye fan say appointment committee akoshe table asimia and then the more you press the more somebody's life is at stake ehia life is at stake
course wo ho ebedu baby no na emman panifo bi ete minority for majority for aside ho ye pia table na me ye ma hihye mi nan say empia wo mu bi emmofom
but table no if minority for side na ba kunu ru ase na
And I said, me no me minority for efa.
Etika unhu say nipa no rasi free other side no.
Me hu me de me hu poso we rasi o de hu yan say ade bi na me na ho.
Ah. Who can say unhu say obi awura table.
And I me say me hu so ade na me na me hu so we pie.
Aha.
Wa yewie.
Aha na fi kwa na.
Okoye.
Oko. It say your koso yo so wan koso. Later be nam say anti na nam form ho ye dey.
Na o say
No chichim.
Pepe say who the nipa no catch so that yeah miss go to bio. Today you have the platform.
O share interview no a. Man ka say okoso. Baby. Okoso bi asobone. Me so the bibim.
Yeah.
Le dey ben.
Then na you say ni dey you.
No, no nam form dey.
Enti nipa no, enti me ka say yes. Me ka say be ma ne be ma.
Yeah.
Wo mu edi echi na so mo ku ntokwa. Na ba kwa koto form dey. O hwa dey na okoye. And also be me. Na say am to say me enya na kase because you see it was a very chaotic situation. That time na kwa free for all. Despicable.
All tactics and all weapons are allowed.
Regrettable. Ye bompa ye say e bi NCBum. But you said you dey ahwe dey abafie no. No dey want na ba.
But still aware hu nipa kro.
Nipa kwa ere.
Owura table na.
Obi hu no. Said later on muju ya ye ko no. Na mbisa no say it wo nam form ho no. Na wo ye dey.
Tinipa na a member of the minority.
Mintimi nka.
But MP.
MP.
Or a first timer.
Mintimi nka.
But o ufio.
MP nko ha dey.
And MP o Greater Accra.
Mintimi nka.
Ada woni nipa na.
Tell me bisa no.
Mintimi nka. Eti ye hwe de the pictures videos actually ye de hu your videos no dia ye be mistaken ye nuanom enan wo de yempo ye hwa say yen
but yenwie sa ball pressing we ni ntwa
eno de me pesa me di hu nkobo kwa bio
meba but ise be gu asem we abri mo ho de owura table na ase no bae no o ka che o se okomia balls
o asemu a eye petuku de no dije no ana make us mum yenyai
the Matthias
na yenyai because
once I will be about
trend ya kodu ensemu a medi ka kabila
meba
ehun suggestions asem na MP ene de me hu de ekoso ene de ekwetimi aboa no se call eno na etimi trendy say ya enka be boy democracy no what I say the earlier suggestions am my you know say amount 40 medium data no money ade money trendy say ya kebe boy democracy no be able say be masebejafo ebu yen say yenye nipa bia say be yeni munyansa money ade no ebe ma a different perception about our MPs rather no we ya ebe ye friend say betwemu sirihwe no ni ade eno mom na yasom eno hwa am na ye nyemu media fo no a nana ya
see ene de
enye mu media for enti me nya think say ye kase ye be ye de de tem bia dia ene na de enye de enso betimi aboa oman ne chechire no ye ntimi enka ho asem anani pa bi ntimi hu enti no ubo say the perception towards MPs no ebe ye say ye di hwe ye enso I am telling you the minority for ye that day no say ya nya enka niema bebre ye di hu comment ne no ye ntimi ni Esan say it will only take the minority to bring out certain things. Edi na baye. Ya no ma ya power warming. President Mahama and our power warming. I am even telling you, some of the people are ya power warming. No. President Mahama said ya power can be on power as ministers. But because Omo Bua campaign, now they were part of it. He's forced to. Because in Kapapani Full said the last 4 years he did. But look at the people are why point yomo. Nipano Ebia, President Mahama and NDC party benefited from some of the things that Kofoni here while they were in opposition. But and then
they see Honan Kasanka.
Oh, maybe you make a review. Oh, my, ayode.
There no must one baby's out.
Yeah, okay.
Now only must one baby's house.
Because I had so
Eva, na bezeli.
One episode now.
Eva.
Oh, menka.
Me nyama dey sao. Me baby so asemanga dey.
Asen na, obi achia me a. Me nam ho. Enra me nam parliament sa. No bi akoto ye se me yes. As a me kai say. What kind of trademark is this?
Pretty George.
What kind of trademark is it?
Omo say dey, omo say dey.
Me nam ho no mo a. Obi akoto aso no wa so bi.
Hey.
Omo say no omo akoto. No on the Zaba for
why are we joking with this? Why we just continue here? Me, they said the former financial issue statement say nothing like that happened to him. But say eto no one kind of question dia. No.
But why do you know the eto no?
No information or
me hu nipa no.
And nipa na be kan
me hu nipa no. And I was wondering what he was doing.
But I'm for this won't be nche nipa ndia ye wa.
Oh no.
And Kofa suggested her. But nana me a gentleman enough kakra. Usha me see ade esi ye na no obi ohwe video no bia bo say na me to ho na me num tea. And a Mary biscuit. Later on, because now the air contact on woody, not committing the whole day. Minidi. What does it? But me no ye the menya ho de kakra.
I dey hwe nema.
Enti me hwe ye no. Na se no mpia table no so sorry. So that's it. Enti me sorry what was what you no obi what's the table now so be na ase a so be. Na enwanwa. Se be dem se sa nipa no. Be de bakwa dakam. Nya dia meti me aboni din.
Sao.
O da bi.
But on the ojitum say omian.
Oh no, me na me bisan say now we are the wo ho. See you know, you always want to be discussing something because in the heat of their course no. Obey nyema bia later be wie be say me nya yanka be nye.
Kamamia.
What they say? Anya mia no be the table akonya si table so akonya de etra so e face table so. But at that moment enya say ye kire memasem. But so be what numbers. Election ye call you.
But was it the bani team anti BBS o nyina mani team say onko pata. Yes say microphones and mani team so onyi microphones here. On table ni say be obi an say adwene bani team so onura table ase.
Na now sa ebedu bibi na amafo choma memasem. Me am colleague bia or majority. Tamwa ye o majority de bia oni yenam. E no hu nam say masa. Enti no afido obabu yen. O say na dia asumesi ye no boehu obo nipa ba mienu miensa din baako ka ho baako ka omma mi hu om no na mi twa asem no so ana o kaim se de mo ye na so ba ye no te kama wo de bia wo ma na tutu mi fi wono no ba ne ye din komani ade ene de wa ba pa wanti o ba bu yen o de se enkrofo eye niema enkrofo kire mo mema sem me kai said 8th parliament na ye for say ya bre tika 9th parliament die ye beji ahome kaka ba se na acha asie die eye se no a speaker nankasa e de ache ye nnuano mo na because senka suspension da so wo ha
mo na se ade a wo ye ya na mfamra kwamu na watwe asen mo me yanka no kra
e ho nanka me be ko no
did he have the power to do what he did
enra tie o hwe standing orders ni dia hwini musa but enra obi somebody referred me to the Parliamentary Act. I feel na me kwa kohwe. What you say? He has the power.
The Parliamentary Act, which supersedes the national constitution.
No, there's nothing like that.
If there's anything in the act inconsistent with the national constitution, it's a nullity and void ab initio.
And I'll say, because Yakwa is telling you, say, we are referring to relevant provisions in the standing order.
The constitution says that Parliament governs itself by the standing orders. What is here? If there is a Parliamentary Act, what is it really about? Is it about the general, the staff, everything, and it's just about
parliamentary service and everything? Yeah, and then now we speak a ruling one. He was almost short of telling us to say, "Oh no, I will no. Obiya ntimi nka say o twe no efi parliament ho." But he is the embodiment of parliament. And na mafo bebre ene ne nyadwene. Bedu baby kura no ka say wa wonya remorseful no. Sorry. Amafo ya tem so be sorry. E we side. And they prevail upon that because ye passenger ni akoya nim.
It's true.
O da say enya empani say wo be ma dodo a ye kujaw. Enti no nya time bia na apeso kiremra. Ye ko enfie na yo. Kabla enfie na.
Honorable member of parliament. Hwe Speaker, the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament. Usai Ansana Wababe yes Speaker of the House.
Aye.
Kosheni oath no. Or no ne president. And no Musai say they will defend the constitution and preserve it.
Yes.
At all times.
Yes.
Mpacha wa emre bebre no wa fatumi bia anyone no. One dangerous thing before this new parliament beba and a 9th parliament beba ne say Obomodin say enka the 8th parliament no obetiso from 275 to 271. That's what he did. by his so-called announcement or information and also or they might fear say some members of parliament or vacant. He had no power to do that, but he did it and nearly pushed this country into a state
chaos.
of constitutional chaos.
Yes.
Mamon so say or embodiment of parliament.
Oh, Kabila also Obiansu sono so. Idea we buy and
so he couldn't be wrong.
No. I mean, because initially, no, yeah, will say, oh, you're wrong. But and no, my ruling, you know, and we refer. We want to go and check and see because sabi or nipa. It will yet to mean say, no song and that your baby, no, but here, speaker, everyone say this the 8th parliament, you know, or the strategy or the tactics. The tricks be and a boo parliament to the Senate Baya, Yebeniano Asumjumu, Abidu Senate. And to question in the FSA in Kanai parliament here, Kiahuberson, and this is a majority. On one was highest speaker. A year nanka, ABA, presidency, NDC, and a parliament, NPP. Numbers do war, and I feel speaker. But this would have had a different narratives. It is a say no. The obey biano, ye be name the CEO so no, Omontanasi. Adie ba ye no, openly, Omakasa. Sabi ya yemra so bedwa for die. Nyame si enka do kure, ehun kakra aba. Nyadia etimi esori kawadwene. So that's here. Because the way ya papa no onimumra, wayemra so bedwani a check. No money ade no. O de fa ba bia, wo de be hia wo ho.
Oh, ye
enra
te
enra
Supreme Court correct
enra no ka sembi ena one of yankofo ni bika bibi do ka en say ukokoti wo ba dia me betimi abaji wo ba uti wo manim dia be de be wo e my who buy so that's it. Yes, you know that if you
but that is not practice.
Yeah, that's intimidating.
That is intimidating. For anybody who watched and not put it in.
I think so.
No, but
if indeed
reaching himself.
But if
and he must be told.
Kabila, if the speaker can say my walk the way I walk there, I think that he needs to be. I mean,
he needs to slow down.
Everybody who watched yesterday's proceedings, why he literally meant and they say, or no, as an embodiment of the house.
No, sir, I didn't know what does that really mean.
Say, car, or obeti me about the charge.
What is he talking about?
If you have a case,
what can he do?
Yemfande say, Unami say, police eba bechewa. Standing orders, I was a police budget permission for no.
Yes.
10 years on over to charge you. And if they come and take the permission, what can he do for you?
Oh, that or no, do to me, man say or no. And I was saying,
and your permission per se, they are supposed to be informed.
You should be informed.
The permission. You need to notify the police.
I didn't wait say no. And one most on Swana a dinner team demo a Supreme Court ebu asam oso say and the could
oh na say Yemfan is on my
election as speaker in 2021 was not even properly constitutionally done. I'm telling you, some of us have only restrained ourselves. Say, oh man, he was sitting there illegally.
I'm telling you,
you see, so no, yes, sir. Or yen who Bemado do ni mumrado do only one na kotena classroom atron sorry I wedding so first.
You know, as I'm no across a car here, I public say. So wo hwe na de ekoso yi say emra or the adwuma de suspend your money ade no say
me I
really disagree with because our court no court for them no that's where he's farmed all the years. Not just say sabi oyo bi onimumra.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
And see that posting is even dangerous.
I think media buam dey me den say
kwezi nyabotre offer kwezi nyabotre.
Dey tell me mamin kasa se me dey me den say ade bi oye bia no obomodin apemra edigina nachi
Obi atimpe whether that's the right law or not.
Kabila manimwe
say ya perverse law no and say no eye miminu mienu na ye de be ko friend say court kunini ɛno na ɛboa ma yɛ mmra no ne yɛ democracy no agyina sɛ sɛbi yɛnya obi a ɔyɛ saa kɛkɛ menyi ni sɛ yɛbɛtumi move to it because look like 8th parliament ɛna bɛyɛ hunu sɛ o preside as a second or first you can still vote bibi ensi anke yɛbɛtumi nya saa nhyɛ mu no
okay
that is it it mean deɛ me hwɛ ne sɛ ɔyɛ otumfoɔ nsɛm ana ɔyɛ tumideɛ
that's a positive aspect of it
that is it it is ɔyɛ bia no yɛ no mo ne ade ne yɛ interested in the law no yɛ nso yɛ ni n'akyi ma deɛ ɔbɛyɛ a ɛnyɛ no yɛnka
kwasi wonim bibi
yɛyi
wonim bibi yɛse dufɔkyeɛ ɛda nsuom mfi apem ɛna ne da nkyɛm da the fact say speaker na tena fie hɔ since 92 ɛnkyerɛ sɛ constitutional provision and standing order and provision bi obekutu no the interpretation of it is right say yes sir enka supreme court di asem anke enko for review
so wonim say yen standing orders here ekure at least one ade ba ko ayi na ye boa say ye betew and say parliament the sanctity of parliament must be protected enti no eniema ekoso of parliament nyina egu parliament ho fi nyina no sabe ye be wie no na ye ni so ate enwan enti no wo hwa eye between o party o caucus and the sanctity of parliament tinyema bi wo ho no mu a edu ba bi a na wo hu de obechusu wo da se na wo hu bi a obechusu afa se eniema ekoso wo fi ho ene ono asabe oyemra emranimfo na watena fie ho ne ade no sabe the knowledge in parliamentary rules untimi enyi mfino
obi anyi
enti se oti honom na ade enso encheye this is the 8th and 9th parliament in our 4th republic enyema bebre na akonanim oda se enyema bebre na akonanim na esai se baby a wako do in parliamentary practice ni adenti se niema bi wo hodom a oya age se unya kukuduro aswaka se we stand up to him sa suspension ni dodo na yidu but no calmly not ho because we fortify no with the mrebia se ose opa share the court
you see consider ben
what never tell
na yakesi kusa wasembi pacho
ai
kadna busa o say Supreme Court ma order emma nchiremu emma emramu ntiase aya nkasa ye mra kunini ne se achinyedie bi ba meni untem obi ni obi ntem a ko anatumi ba ko pe ene wo se o man nchiremu ene ne Supreme Court wo se ye ya emfanko ye de ko hon mu na anu a Supreme Court di nchiremu ba ye no e den na papa bagben oyeye
but what say enu say
ena na kadna me ba dabi ena na kadna libusa no
enti me here no say enu say wohwemu a when timi antu na mutu anka say me the Supreme Court nya
dabi onyo mo ya adwene onyo mo ya adwene
must you say
enti hwanya say Supreme Court ehye emra na say Supreme Court edi asem a e wo so hwe ma Supreme Court asem a wodie no
right
ye di
you know mami so asem court edi asem a na mfaze bia one kabila mo pre sa specialized bottle ekuta we woso dia kabila sene dia na atik Mohammed JSC ebe transem so no ka se matie kwasi akwa nkrubo matie kabila nkrubo mitie ni nyina awie ye no kwasi akwa asema wo kan se specialized ye ne dia no ente sa ade ne ye kabila dia mo fanko me wa na ade no ekuta wo kwasi o say okay then o call yen bottle na court ne se fama kabila no wo bottle nda sukuta wo unje mu o se wonya mfa wa no nka se men fan continue enkyere se o mfa nko what are you saying
enti yen fan say in this scenario no ye hwe se ekame meyo sutie amade
Supreme Court no kan se
media koma no manya no e wo se kabila nso emre bi ta na chi manitimi beje fimi ho
emra no ho ntina na me ka kire wo say the same way as speaker no hwehwe amanfo so mbedi mra so no ono should be the first person subjecting himself to the very constitution he wants people to obey
enra bibi ete minority ye ban kakra time o ka say why was so nya remorseful no
remorseful for what
remorseful for the others parliament is JSS will be go
sorry
what be that
because na obi aka wo radio so ana obi aka wo inframam say obi evu say headmaster.
Yeah, that's true.
And no can yes say oh say ye wo enkofo a ebeye om ho say students a ye hiam headmaster.
Oui.
Oh, so yeah, reference to class say education minister, not education minister Bonity. I mean, it was all part of the
process. We know there's some one kasa no. Yeah, any the course one. One kasa na one kasa manu. Say, mo hwe mo ho TV so and as a recording sa. Mo ankasa mo ne mo ma, ene mo nua no mo nkuma hwe mo ho a. Say no mo ankasa mo sen afi.
That's it.
Enti so no be ka say
on my nanim.
Yes.
Any ye fie near. But in the chamber no.
No, did he mean to say sir? No, did he mean to say sir? Wow, we are remorseful. Sorry na me fan chow. And now why when you're remorseful, no now you're Bema sorry na me shade. Is that what he meant?
Oh, yes, I think the Bema semna
honorable, you see, the Speaker of Parliament is not holding more MPs no in local parentis. Sebi on your headmaster no my students. You as a matter of fact, he's not even a member of the house. So he cannot be conducting himself in local parentis. And secondly, you see, media, I admire him for one thing. And look, I'm one of his biggest fans.
Yes.
But I'm one of his big.
Until one time he said
me is one of my biggest fans. I mean, I'm one of his biggest fans. That's what I mean. And I like his position on LGBTQ. He has his positives, so many of them. But about excess now, you should be bold enough to also tell him. To say no, it means that now the power to discipline any member of parliament now your ACA HS is now reserved with the Speaker of Parliament, and it establishes a certain parent ward relationship.
Father.
No, it's out of respect, not because
me introduce na who say baby awogina ene sanya wa family so bedwam na ene nyame adaroma baby oti ye hunu a enye mra kwa so ne hwe ne keke ye san so hwe ne ntino mumfa blame ni mamra so bedwa force as yago ye hu todo do ama no
obi ankasa
sebe obi ankasa so bedwa ye sua de mra so bedwa nice school ye sua de what you say
every day
omaba first time as you have a lot of lawyers but on to sabe kwahwe abani bia wakọ no mo 3 times 4 times
and everything
so that's here into no what say ma che na wabedi speaker no obekira onienti a enyema standing orders ye di adwuma yi foforo
yeah well you've amended
that is or the experience any nyema bebri ena odi ama yenya a new standing order relevant to
the time
this current parliament. Nti niema bi a etwemu bi na the first nanka committees winner takes all. Abaying empanifo no wa abayem no muna mofa all the committees chair. And then no dodo na no we bi e dey minority because we who no say sa committees no say minority a chair.
Ono ye na say obetu ye.
O there be the na wo no public
accounts committee
and subsidiary government assurance no na government and na chairperson
and I privilege simple
no chairperson.
I thought there are 3 committees.
No, there are about 4 or 5. There were economic and budgets. I don't say
a new committee.
New committee, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And the chairpersons, no, they are more opposition, or they are more minority.
All right, okay.
So that's fine. It's one was by experience, no. Me the be make say sabi upo umpo ye bo ye humodin say parliament
no,
he suggested say it should be so.
Standing orders. No, he led the deliberations.
Yes, but you MPs, you took them in.
No, but at least it was he showed initiative. That's
what say.
Media suggested na manye ntumwa.
Kabila no kreba akwe wo ho say tie. Ye wie standing orders ye G2. And a lot of MPs took momo mani enkoye ho na de anya no
nyesi esoso kwa Ghana fo nyina
oh say Ghana fo no emu ahen na te de yakase what I say the emu ahen na te de yakase ntino say bibi say no ye kokko challenge e quarter e ba
console no so obese opon there is enyawa
we are make back mesrawo
there is this no a French aristocrat. But Ochro book is one of the most celebrated books in political science. The American Democracy. Emeka Alexis de Tocqueville Oko America during the Jacksonian period, no, he wanted to understand the American democracy, the insights, the passions in this animal. And Ochro Bibi, it is called tyranny of the majority. Say democracy is about yenina duduona ne duduona beka no and na di edwuma. But ya nhwe ya sometimes duduona adwini na di edwuma no. It stifles independent thought and independent mind. And it crashes opposition. Okay, say the majority would crash the opposition to the point that nobody even hears their screams. And Edusana is one of the dangers of democracy. And
as a majority
they will crash the opposition to the point that nobody would even hear their screams.
Even if their boss are
of the majority.
Even if their boss are pressed.
Yes, and it is not always the case. Who are numbers now? Okay, I feel what last year. I feel what one of last year.
I need to read that book.
Oh yeah, no, it's very important. It is American Democracy by
I think you have to
oh yeah, I'll get one for you. Actually, I'll get the soft copy for you.
Do
share. And yes, one numbers no. Niobe kebiane papa. Sometimes you can use your numbers to do evil. You can use your numbers.
Majority will always carry the vote, but they are not always right.
And they are not always right.
Sure.
Enti Mr. Yenuanuma or more majority no. Said they should be mindful of this construct. Majority tyranny and a tyranny of the majority. Say and the fact say more numbers in say minority no can be na nya model. All you say is mupa mum free uncle. And I was a bit deplored. I found it deplorable. Say my appointments committee, when there were issues, concerns, the chairman was like, "Oh, minority leader, if you can go." And did we see the outcome? People spent less than 5 minutes.
Nipa be 10. And you bye bye. I wish you well. Bye bye. Is that what we are looking for?
Honorable, and I remember of Parliament. Now, it is settled and tried knowledge about parliamentary practice. The minority will always have their say. But the majority will have their way.
Yes. But that is allowed them to have their say.
Yes.
Good.
Don't push us out.
So is a different.
So I just middle point. Me say, sometimes it becomes chaotic.
And no say nansa. Epie say o mewie mama declare enyampa. Woni ye PC ekwafi ye kasa. Oma ye dodo na no aka 3 polling stations.
Aka 3 and they will be any.
3 no. Omo try say police bema security no ma ye no awie. Ye we IGP. Enye wey. Ena NDC for the be maintain no. There was all ye no. Yes pepe. Ombe pamo. But there was all ye no. Ye. Obi animu se na we ye wadwuma fa. 3 polling stations pe ko supervise. Na yisi for nya sa collation no. Na yenwie na yenya a full house. This we will fight. We will fight for it.
Even if it calls for, you will.
We will fight for it because ye wundi aka. Dodo na ya naka 3 police stations pe. Ummo yisi for by court na show. One we be any o. Court na kase ye man security. So say why and eba be ensure. Say as agwagwa dey na die. Die down. And then ra ekwefuye mu akoma
unfortunately me need time bia until we
the honorable here say me can one say me dikan eka galamsey hu asem no sezi am opposition e bia mo abem no na mo nkrofo ne bi yenti sezi adama no ho so
I will take full responsibility for pressing every other thing here before me, including those at the far reach. The new standing order is not Bagmin's initiative. It was initiated by a committee of which Che Mensa and Bagbin were part. It started in the 6th Parliament. Emmanuel Yawaji Andre Edian. Robson for Hanam Dimusi, Mejemu Amakofi Conversing the Royal Baby. A friend and I occurs with me, a friend the Cardinal. Metremu Emma Ghana's Morning Voice, Chairman General, Kwame Sefakai, Yame Eya Domoa, Ochra, Yabasa to us from the Redasum G. Ejobia Macram.